scrolling through your feed lately and suddenly feel like one face keeps popping up everywhere? You're not imagining it. One minute, he was just that funny guy some people casually skip past. The next, he's on your timeline, your explore page, your group chats, and even trending in conversations you didn't expect. Today on Buzz and Tea, we're talking about the rise no one saw coming, the story of KL Bro Biju, the man they ignored, and who is now everywhere. Let's rewind. There was a time when KL Bro Biju was just another creator trying to carve space in the loud, overcrowded world of social media. No massive production team, no viral backing from a mega celebrity, no overnight cosign from a brand giant. Just skits, relatable humor, and a camera. And if we're being honest, not everyone was paying attention. Have you ever noticed how the internet treats new creators? If they don't explode in their first few uploads, people scroll past. If they're not already famous, they're dismissed. If their humor is too niche, they're labeled small time. That's exactly the space KL Bro Biju started in. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't controversial, he wasn't trying to shock people into clicking, he was consistent. And consistency is boring. Until it's not. In the early days, his videos had that raw, unfiltered feel. Everyday scenarios, cultural jokes, situations people from multicultural communities could immediately relate to. The kind of humor that makes you say, wait, that's literally my uncle, or why is this so accurate? But relatability doesn't always equal instant virality. And for a while, it felt like he was creating into the void. Now, here's the part I want you to think about. How many creators quit right there? How many people, after months of low views and minimal recognition, would have said, maybe this isn't for me? The algorithm can be brutal. Silence can be discouraging. Watching others blow up while you're grinding quietly, that hits hard. But KL Bro Biju didn't stop. He kept posting. He kept refining. He kept studying what worked. And slowly, almost invisibly, something started to shift. It wasn't one massive viral explosion at first. It was momentum. One video did slightly better, then another, then someone stitched his clip, then a page reposted his skit, then a reaction channel picked him up. Then suddenly, people who had ignored him were asking, wait, who is this guy? That's how it starts. And here's the thing about organic growth. It builds something stronger than hype. It builds community. If you've watched KL Bro Biju long enough, you know his humor isn't random. It's rooted in everyday life. He taps into cultural dynamics, family expectations, workplace drama, generational misunderstandings, the kind of content that crosses borders because human behavior is universal. Whether you're watching from Nigeria, Malaysia, the UK, or anywhere else, you see pieces of yourself in the stories. And that relatability, that's powerful. Because while trends fade, relatability sticks. At some point, the numbers couldn't be ignored anymore. Views climbing, comments multiplying, shares exploding. Suddenly, the same people who once scrolled past were now tagging their friends. The algorithm that once buried him started pushing him. And that's when things really changed. Let's talk about the psychology of they ignored him. Now he's everywhere. There's something deeply satisfying about watching someone rise after being overlooked. It feels like justice. It feels earned. And the internet loves a comeback arc, even if technically he never fell. He just wasn't noticed yet. Fame doesn't just change how people see you, it changes how they treat you. Imagine building your audience slowly, grinding for months or years, and then suddenly brands are emailing. Collaboration offers start flooding in. Other creators want to work together. Media pages begin covering your content. The shift is dramatic. And here's the question I want to ask you. Would you move differently? Because when someone goes from ignored to in demand, the pressure doubles. Now every post matters more. Every video is analyzed. Every joke is dissected. People who once didn't care now have opinions. And KL Bro Biju? He adapted. Instead of losing his identity, he leaned deeper into what made him unique. He didn't suddenly rebrand into something unrecognizable. He didn't abandon his core audience chasing a new one. He elevated the production quality, yes. He expanded his themes, but the heart of his content stayed the same. That authenticity is rare. In the social media era, creators often pivot so hard to chase numbers that they lose their original spark. But part of what makes KL Bro Biju's rise interesting is that his personality remains consistent. The humor still feels like him. The energy still feels grounded. and audiences can sense that. Now let's address the everywhere effect. You know that moment when someone you followed quietly suddenly appears on mainstream platforms? Maybe you see them featured in interviews. Maybe their clips are used in compilations. Maybe influencers with bigger followings are quoting them. That's when you realize this isn't just growth, this is expansion. The digital world works in layers. First, niche fame, then regional recognition, then cross platform visibility, then international traction. KL Bro Biju crossed those layers steadily, and the more he appeared, the more curious new audiences became. Why is everyone talking about him? What did I miss? Is he actually that funny? And curiosity leads to clicks. Clicks lead to binge watching. Binge watching leads to loyalty. It's a cycle. But here's something people don't talk about enough. Visibility brings criticism. When you're small, the love feels personal and tight knit. When you grow, the audience expands, and so does scrutiny. Suddenly, there are think pieces, hot takes, people dissecting whether you're overrated, others debating if you changed. That's the price of being everywhere. And yet, part of what keeps KL Bro Biju's momentum strong is how he navigates that noise. He doesn't overreact publicly. He doesn't seem desperate to respond to every opinion. He lets the work speak. And the work? It keeps landing. There's also a deeper layer to his story: representation. For many viewers, seeing someone from a multicultural background command global attention feels empowering. It challenges stereotypes about who gets to be the face of viral content. It expands the idea of what mainstream humor looks like. And in a world where algorithms often amplify certain archetypes, breaking through as yourself is significant. Think about it. How many times have we seen creators try to fit into a global mold? Tone down their accents, shift their cultural references, dilute their identity. KL Bro Biju didn't erase where he came from to go viral. He amplified it. And that authenticity, that's magnetic. Let's get interactive for a second. When did you first notice him? Was it a specific skit, a collaboration, a trending clip? Or were you part of the early audience who watched him before the surge? Because there's always that group, the day ones, the people who say, I've been here since 10K followers. They feel protective, proud, slightly smug even. And honestly, they've earned that feeling. But what fascinates me most is how quickly narratives flip online. The same internet that once overlooked someone can suddenly treat them like they appeared out of nowhere. Overnight success, they call it. But overnight success is often years in disguise. Behind every sudden rise are drafts that didn't go viral, scripts that didn't land, videos that barely cracked 1,000 views, silent nights of doubt, revisions, re-recordings, self-critique. And that's what makes this story compelling. It's not just about being everywhere. It's about endurance. Now let's zoom out. In a world oversaturated with content, attention is currency, and keeping attention is harder than getting it. The reason KL Bro Biju's presence feels constant right now is because he understands pacing. He doesn't disappear for too long. He doesn't flood the feed so aggressively that audiences burn out. There's a rhythm to his uploads, and rhythm builds anticipation. You start expecting him, you start looking for him, you start sharing him. That's when a creator shifts from being just a content maker to being part of your digital routine. And if we're being completely honest, that's when influence truly begins. Because influence isn't just about numbers, it's about impact. It's about how often your content becomes part of conversations, how frequently your jokes are quoted, how naturally your name appears in discussions about trending creators. KL Bro Biju is in that phase right now. But here's the bigger T. What happens next? Every creator who reaches the everywhere stage faces a crossroads. Do they stay purely comedic? Do they expand into longer form content? Do they venture into acting, hosting, business, merch, brand building? Growth opens doors. And if there's one thing we've learned from digital success stories, it's that adaptability determines longevity. We've seen creators plateau. We've seen others evolve into full-blown media personalities. The difference? Strategy. KL Bro Biju's trajectory suggests he understands that this moment isn't just about being viral. It's about building something sustainable. The collaborations are getting sharper. The storytelling is becoming more layered. The presence feels intentional. And that's exciting because it means this isn't just a wave. It might be a foundation. Let's talk about the emotional layer too. There's a quiet confidence in someone who was once ignored but kept going. That kind of resilience shows in subtle ways, in how they carry themselves, in how they engage with fans, in how they react to success. When you've experienced being overlooked, you value visibility differently, and audiences can sense gratitude. That connection, that feeling that he's still one of us, keeps the community strong. If you've been scrolling through your feed lately and suddenly feel like one face keeps